Hey, my name is Jay Martin. Thanks for watching. And what was going on with me is earlier today I played a game with a friend of mine who's sort of like an up and coming player. He's a good player, but he's kind of still building experience. And we played, and after the match, he was like, "Man, my micro just really isn't fast enough." And we talked about it for a little bit, and I said, "Yeah, I'll think about it, man, and I'll think about it essentially." And so I thought about it for a while, and I came up with some tips, and it occurred to me that this might be something that other people are interested in, or maybe other people could find useful. So I figured I'd use this game. This is just a random 1v1 game that I played. I'm here, but I'd use this game to talk about some tips on how to improve your microcontroller units. And first thing I'll say is, if you're not familiar with the term, what they mean is microcontrol is, or micro, is just controlling like one particular unit. Like click a cav unit, move it somewhere. That's an example of doing micro. And the first thing I want to say is that this game, as opposed to a game like StarCraft, this game really doesn't require what I'd necessitate as fast micro. Like I'm not some hyper caffeined out 14-year-old Korean. I'm an old guy, man, in video game terms anyway. But my micro's slow, but I still managed to get by. And I think the trick in this game is not necessarily having fast micro, but having productive and efficient micro, or organized micro might be a better way to put it. So I think that if you build some good habits on your microcontrol, then you'll be fine. And I'm going to try to lay some of those out for you right now. Okay, first thing, on a technical sense, there's a couple things that you want to try. The first is I really recommend that you give a try to using the unrestricted camera, which lets you zoom all the way out here. This is really nice because it lets you see the whole battle. The standard camera that you might be using keeps you like down here, and that's really hard because you can't see what everybody's doing. And so I really recommend you try this. Some players I know have tried the unrestricted camera and don't like it and go back. That's fine, but whatever works for you is what you should use. But I think you should give the unrestricted camera at least a test, and I'll try to put a link to a tutorial on that in the description of this particular video, but I recommend that you try that. While you're fooling around, when you edit that, what you're going to have to do is edit one of the little text files that makes up your Napoleon game. And while you're in that file, there's a bunch of other options that you can change too. A second option that I recommend you tweak is, I think it's called camera move speed. And there's a value set to how fast, I'm going to make you vomit right here. There's a value set to how fast your camera pans around the map. I think the default is 100, and I think I play it like 400 or 500. I don't remember when I last edited it, but even if you're it helps if you can zoom your camera around the map a little faster. So maybe try bumping that up a little bit. Like if you start at 100, maybe try it at 200, and you'll probably find yourself over time increasing it a little bit, once every couple of weeks or something. That's sort of what I do. And the third thing from a technical sense that I recommend is you really gotta use hotkeys. You gotta take advantage of hotkeys. Now I guess when you're attending it, you really just need a hotkey for form square. But there's some other commands that are useful, like run or fire at will. You can use those too. You practice using hotkeys. I also recommend you get a mouse with some extra buttons on it so that you can hit those hotkeys right on your mouse. And lately I started playing with, I don't know what it's called, it's like a little game controller. It's like a keyboard replacement, or a little keyboard designed specifically for playing computer games. So I use that. Maybe try that if that helps you or whatever. But those are a couple things from a technical sense I really recommend giving the unrestricted camera a try, and the other things that you can edit as well. Okay, from a sort of behavioral perspective, I think that the most important thing about having good microcontrol is discipline. Here in the U.S., before they give you a license to drive a car, you have to take a driving class. And the thing that I remember from driving class is that my driving instructor hammered into my head that look in the rearview mirror every 10 seconds. Every 10 seconds, look in the rearview mirror. And so you just kind of build this habit of looking in the rearview mirror. Well, a habit that you need to develop in Napoleon is to always be moving. or not necessarily always be moving, but using your time productively. You know what I mean? I don't know if you've ever watched a live recording of Point Man play, but Point Man plays with the basic camera, but he is constantly moving. Like his camera is rarely still. He's like boom, order, boom, order, boom, order, boom. And it's really easy in this game because this game is very attractive to like zoom in and like, ooh, look at my cav shooting at him. Oh, isn't that cool? Like you can totally waste a ton of time or get distracted in this game by like, falling into the trap of the zoom and watch your units. Don't do that. You need to constantly be moving. You want to constantly be checking shit out. And that actually is more than anything is an act of discipline. Like you have to just be constantly moving. Okay, so more than anything, I think that quality and productive microcontrol in this game is all about discipline. So keep your camera moving and don't neglect one area. Like a lot of times you'll catch yourself, you've like haven't looked at your other flank for like 30 seconds and oh, guess what? A bunch of cav just rolled through. Like if you watch some of my live recordings, you notice that happens to me quite a bit. Because I'm a dumbass and I don't move my camera as much as I should. So it's all about discipline. You got to do that. Okay. The other thing that I really recommend you do is I hold the spacebar down a lot to just kind of look at where my units are going. Sometimes, especially if you're playing in a really laggy game, your unit orders will get kind of fucked up. So I try to keep a good eye on where my units are going, and it kind of reminds me like, okay, that unit did actually form square. Like sometimes you can't really tell if they get caught in melee or whatever. So use your spacebar a lot. That's what I do. It's a preference thing, but you need to use it to some degree. The second thing I really recommend is developing the skill of knowing what to look for while you're zooming around the map. It really helps to know what to look for. Like a really good example of this is when a unit starts to form square. Like say that you have cav unit charging at somebody, and the procedure to form square, you can notice that because the first couple guys at the end will start moving first, and you can kind of like predict the square if you catch that little movement really early, right? And the person I think is best at this is Bobby. Like Bobby has some magical ability to know you're forming square before you even hit the fucking button, and he's already changed his lancers to a new target or something. But the way he's able to do that is he pays attention and he watches what's going on. And little skills like this, you want to hover over your opponent's units every now and then to see how many men are in them, or you know what I mean, just to see what's going on. There's a big difference between a unit that has 80 men in it and a unit that has 40 men in it, because that 40 unit men can't form square. So you want to pay attention to that. And those are kind of things that you want to be willing to look for. You know what I mean? Like, is your opponent in the little terrain? Like, is my opponent behind this ditch here? You got to keep an eye on the important things to look for. You know what I mean? And sort of, I lump in with that category is sort of understanding what's important. And I'm kind of branching off topic into sort of and more qualitative things or behavioral, how to play good things. But the reality is that fast micro is all about making decisions quickly, and the quicker you can make the decisions about where to move somebody, the quicker your holistic game that you play is going to be. So you have to be able to kind of analyze the situation fast, and then make a decision on where to move somebody, and then be moving around the map a lot to make those decisions quickly. And if you can do that, you put that kind of whole puzzle together, then that'll, speed up the pace of your game, and that'll also speed up the quality of your game. And you'll probably notice that if you get into a big fight in the middle of the field like I have with this person here, that a lot of times you'll catch yourself like you'll totally own someone because you'll move units faster than they do and they can't form square, and then sometimes you'll get owned because you'll play somebody who's better at that than you or faster at that than you. And anybody can do it. It's I think more about discipline and habit than anything else. Like I don't think that player A is necessarily naturally predisposed to moving around, but it's just about habits that you develop. You know what I mean? And even like I'm pretty uncoordinated myself, but the pace of this Napoleon Total War game is slow enough that I can have fast enough micro, etc. So those are kind of some things. The most important thing is just keep your eye on the whole field, and if you're not keeping your eye on the whole field, then be moving back and forth. Just keep an eye on everything. Try to keep a sort of a mental inventory of where all your opponent's units are, what those units are doing, where your units are, what your units are doing, and don't fixate too long on anything. Like if I zoom in to watch that cav charge right there, well over there, well my opponent could be doing something interesting. Like, while I was looking over there, I let my Lancer run into a square. That's actually probably what happened in this game right now, but I should be pulling that Lancer out of there and I'm not. But, it's little things like that. So keep your camera moving and try to build that skill, like do the look in the rearview mirror drill every 10 seconds, but you got to keep moving. You got to keep working on that kind of thing. And I think that's the real trick. And so there's some tips for people that work on how to improve the speed of their micro. Do the technical things. Try the unrestricted camera. Maybe increase your mouse speed. And more than anything, just try to build the habit of looking around the map and giving equal attention to the different sides of your units. I was actually T-Bone made an interesting comment on a game that I posted, and he was like, dude, Jay, you totally ignored one of your flanks for a while, and you got the shit cav charge out of you. And I think his comment was right on about how I was playing. I was like, T-Bone, honestly, I think what I did right there is I mentally knew that I was getting fucked on that flank, and so I was kind of out of sight, out of mind, and I didn't want to look at it. So I spent more of my camera time over on the flank that I was winning, which is totally retarded, but at the same time kind of like a basic human thing that you have to overcome. We want to focus on where we're winning because that makes us feel good inside, but you need to give equal attention to all areas of the map. And the particular thing that T-Bone pointed out, I was sort of losing in one area, and I sort of subconsciously didn't look at that side of the map that much, and it was a live recording, so you could actually tell that's exactly what I was doing. So try to break those bad habits. Excuse me, try to form good habits, and I think that'll go a long way. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I hope that makes sense. If anybody else has another question, maybe I can answer. Maybe leave a comment, or if there's some element about this to flesh out better, let me know. And I'll try to put a link to a tutorial on the unrestricted camera and editing that file in the comments. So anyway, thanks for watching, and check me out in the next video.